Alright, so we're hunting the saffron milkcap in this pine forest, and this is a nice example here, nestled under these pine leaves. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful examples of the saffron milkcap. So that's what you're looking at for, a little mound of pine needles, and underneath are these treasures. These beautiful tiny little saffron milkcaps. At this stage, when they're so small and they're really firm, they're still good for pickling as well. The older varieties, if you try and pickle them, then they'll just fall apart and you'll end up with mushroom soup. If we pull away the pine needles, look at this. Wonderful. Looks like there's another little dainty mushroom in there as well. Maybe a little mycena, who knows? Alright. There we have it. So this is the stem of the mushroom here that I've just cut off, and underneath here, well, it's hard to see, but the mycelium, the root system as such of the fungus, goes down through the soil and links in to the pine tree roots. So these little white filaments that grow through the soil like cottony threads, they're the root system as such of the fungus. They link in to the root system of the trees here, so they're mycorrhizal fungi. That means that they live in a symbiosis with the pine trees here. So the fungi link in with the root system of the pines, and they in effect extend the root system of the pine tree, so the pines can gather more water, more nutrients. There's some estimates that for every 1 metre of a tree root, there's about 1 kilometre of mycelium associated with that, which just that surface area vastly improves the ability to get water, nutrients, and not only that, fungi are much more capable of gathering nutrients, of getting hard to scavenge elements such as phosphorus. Here are a few more specimens that I've got. This is great. They all look pristine and ready for the eating. This one's had a little bit of a nibble from a snail or a slug, but that's alright, we don't mind sharing too much. When you find a patch of the Lactarius, you don't just go for the ones that are evident, but you look for little mounds, and as you look in the grass, like down here as well, you find little ones popping up everywhere. So once you find something, take the time to scan and poke around with a little stick, and you'll be rewarded by finding these great little ones. The telltale identification is that they're orange mushrooms in a pine forest. They will generally bleed a orange milky exudate, and you can see how there's a little tiny bit of a greening reaction there, this oxidation, that eventually if you break them, then they'll first bleed this orange, and then eventually that will oxidize to a green color. There's a little example down here of an older one on the ground where we can see that happening. You can see this older specimen here and that bluing reaction there. Beautiful example of a couple of these Amanita muscaria, the fly agaric, the classic fairy tale mushroom. Wonderful, they look beautiful. Now, around here we've got a great example of the different life stages of Amanita muscaria. Just over here we've got a small one just coming up, poking through the pine needles. So look at this one here, just poking up through the pine needles, and all these white dots that once were the universal veil, the sac that covered this mushroom. Look at this, just poking its head up through the pine needles. It's the button form of the Amanita muscaria. And then later on here, we've got the more mature specimens. They look wonderful too. You can see the annulus, the ring around the stem, and the white dots on the red cap. Classic fairy tale mushroom. Now, a bit further over there are a few specimens where they've actually had their white dots washed off by the rain. So this could confuse the amateur mycologist as to what species it is. Let's go have a look at them. Now, we've had a decent dump of rain recently, and you can see here, this one has hardly any of these white dots left. They've all been washed off by the rain, and this one as well. There's just one there. So you could be mistaken for thinking that's another species, but that just goes to show that it's not only the morphological characteristics of the individual mushroom, but also the environmental conditions that it's subjected to, whether it's the rain or drying out, or even the life stage, how immature or mature it is. I mean, look at these ones there, the colour's really changing. This is completely sodden with the rain. But yeah, great examples of the different life stages of Amanita muscaria. Of Gymnopalis. Unfortunately, not an edible mushroom, but look at that cluster. Great.